WikiLeaks co-founder Assange arrested in London. Trump urges inquiry into attempted coup against him. May faces call to resign. Saudi Arabia executes 4 people for drug trafficking. Federal government of Nigeria says execution of Nigerian woman in Saudi Arabia pathetic. Pope kisses feet of South Sudan leaders. Ajax Tottenham charged by UEFA over crowd trouble. Russia moves to impose fines on drug chase. Lord Cohen, IAAF president cleared. Hello there and welcome to Rich World Television News Review. I am Veronica Obadara. British police dragged WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange out of Ecuador's embassy on Thursday after his 7-year asylum was revoked, paving the way for his extradition to the United States for one of the biggest ever leaks of classified information. Hours after the frail-looking Assange with white hair and a long beard was carried headfirst by at least 7 men out of the London embassy and into a waiting police van, U.S. officials announced he had been charged with conspiracy to commit computer intrusion. He faces up to 5 years in U.S. prison if convicted of the charges. United States of America, President Donald Trump says he has spoken to the U.S. Attorney General about tracing the origins of the inquiry that cleared him of colluding with Russia. Mr. Trump described the investigation by former FBI Director Robert Mueller as an attempted coup. Attorney General William Barr, meanwhile, said he believes U.S. authorities did spy on the Trump campaign. Speaking to reporters at the White House on Wednesday morning, the Republican president railed against the Department of Justice inquiry into whether the Trump campaign had conspired with the Kremlin to sway the 2016 election. The investigation cleared him and his aides of collusion, making no determination on whether they had tried to obstruct justice. Mr. Trump said, and I quote, "This was an attempted coup. This was an attempted takedown of a president, and we beat them. We beat them." End of quote. Speaking to reporters at the White House on Wednesday morning, the Republican president railed against the Department of Justice inquiry into whether the Trump campaign had conspired with the Kremlin to sway the 2016 elections. In the United Kingdom, Theresa May faced a call to resign by Tory MP Sir Bill Cash as she addressed the House of Commons after the European Union set a deadline of Halloween for Brexit. After a huge 6 hours worth of talks, EU leaders offered the Prime Minister an extension until October 31, with a review to be conducted on June 30. Mrs. May had previously hinted she would resign if Britain's date for leaving the EU was extended beyond June 30. Speaking to the Commons on Thursday, Mrs. May told MPs it was their national duty to pass a deal after withdrawal from the EU was again pushed back. Saudi Arabia's Interior Ministry said 4 people were executed on Monday for drug trafficking, including 1 woman, bringing to 53 the number of people put to death this year. 2 Pakistani men, a Yemeni man, and a Nigerian woman were executed in the holy city of Mecca, the ministry said in statements carried by the official Saudi press agency. 53 people have been executed in the kingdom since the beginning of the year, according to a count based on official data released by SPA. And rights experts have repeatedly raised concerns about the fairness of trials in that kingdom, governed under a strict form of Islamic law. The government says the death penalty is a deterrent for further crime. And last year, Saudi Arabia carried out the death sentences of 120 people. In another development, The Nigerian presidency said on Tuesday that the execution of a Nigerian woman over drug-related offense on Monday in Saudi Arabia was pathetic and tragic. The woman was among 4 persons executed by the Saudi authorities recently, according to Saudi's Interior Ministry. And the Senior Special Assistant SSA to the President on Diaspora, Mrs. Abike Dabiri-Rewa, who expressed the feeling of the Nigerian government, recalled that the woman became the 8th Nigerian to die in similar circumstances. The SSA, who spoke with State House correspondents in Abuja, Nigeria, disclosed that 20 others were still under death row, besides 12 more already sentenced to jail. Mrs. Abike Dabiri-Rewa noted that the government was saddened by the fact that in some instances, the unfortunate Nigerians were the victims of drug cartels working with some airline workers. Pope Francis, in a dramatic gesture after an unprecedented retreat at the Vatican, knelt to kiss the feet of South Sudan's previously warring leaders on Thursday as he urged them to not return to a civil war. He appealed to President Salva Kiir, his former deputy, now turned rebel leader Riek Machar, and 3 other vice presidents to respect an armistice they signed and commit to forming a unity government next month. The Pope said, and I quote, "I am asking you as a brother to stay in peace. I am asking you with my heart, let us go forward. There will be many problems, but they will not overcome us. Resolve your problems." End of quote. The leaders appeared to be stunned as the 82-year-old Pope, who suffers from chronic leg pain, was helped by aides as he knelt with difficulty to kiss the shoes of the 2 main opposing leaders and several other people in the room. The Vatican brought together South Sudanese leaders for a 24-hour prayer and preaching inside the Pope's residence in an attempt to heal bitter divisions before the country is due to set up a unity government. And now, sports. And UEFA opened disciplinary proceedings against Ajax Amsterdam and Tottenham Hotspur on Thursday after crowd trouble during their Champions League quarter-final matches this week. Ajax were charged by European soccer's governing body with crowd disturbances after a supporter ran towards Cristiano Ronaldo while the Juventus forward celebrated with his team after opening the scoring in the 45th minute. Tottenham, on the other hand, were charged after a supporter invaded the pitch at their new stadium during their 1-0 first leg win over fellow Premier League side Manchester City on Tuesday. Both cases will be dealt with by UEFA's Control, Ethics and Disciplinary Body on May 16. Now, Russia's parliament on Thursday approved draft legislation that would impose fines of up to 50,000 rubles, that is about £592, on athletes found to have used banned performance-enhancing drugs. Russia has been rocked by several sporting bans in recent years after international investigations found evidence of widespread state-sponsored doping in athletics and a string of other sports. The amendments, which envisage fines of between 30,000 and 50,000 rubles for drug cheats, must still be approved by the upper chamber of parliament and signed by President Vladimir Putin before they become law. The IAAF has revealed it conducted and has now closed an investigation into its own president over whether he misled MPs about when he first found out about corruption and doping allegations. The investigation by athletics governing body's Ethics Board stated in September 2018 it found no evidence such that there is any realistic prospect that any disciplinary case could be established and that Lord Koi intentionally misled the parliamentary committee. And that's all the news we have for you this week on Richword Television News Review. I am Veronica Obadara. Thank you for watching.